Welcome, Madhujans. Right now it's time for us to go into our Seva segments. And this Seva segments, as you know, we bring it almost every month. We try to bring it as often as possible because we actually want to feature some of the organizations over here locally which are doing some work in right now it's time for us to go into our Seva segments. And this Seva segments, as you know, we bring it almost every month. We try to bring it as often as possible because we actually want to feature some of the organizations over here locally which are doing some work in our Karma Bhumi where we live. But yes, there are many people who do wonderful work around the world. That's great. But what we also want to focus in our Seva segments, as you know, Bahibaji had told that we have to be, it's important for us to actually provide service for where we live, most importantly also. So hence we have the Seva segments for you guys. And yes, this weekend is going to be a happening weekend, right, Valtrani?
Absolutely, Banishan. It's a weekend where you're going to be dandiyaing for Pragna, for neurodiversity acculturation. Uske baad, on Sunday, there's another opportunity where you're going to be walking for safety. You're going to be walking, and if you're wondering what, itna sara exercise, it's good. It's a cardio weekend. It's good for your heart.
Yeah.
In every sense of the term, because both the organizations, all the work that's happening is local and it's for the benefit. It's it's all heart.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's good for your heart.
Good for your heart is one thing, and people might say, "Hey, what is this Dandiya going to be night now? Will I go in the morning?" No, I'm going there. I'll be there for Dandiya, and also I'll be there for the walk on Sunday. But before we go into all those things, we want to bring back our Arunay Foundation, because I know some of you actually watched it and you know that you actually gave me feedback saying that the audio was not coming through in the previous segment which we had, and apologies for that. Sorry about that, guys, and sorry Tarun, sorry Anandita. I want to welcome you guys back and thank you for being so patient with us. We actually wanted to learn a little more about what Arunay Foundation does. So yes, thank you for coming on air right now today.
So, what exactly is Arunay Foundation for the benefit of Bandhus who are not familiar with it? Could you please share, and how did this come about, and what is your mission? What do you do?
Arunay Foundation was formed last year when Arunay was swept away in Half Moon Bay at Koval Beach by a sneaker wave. He has not been found. He's lost at sea, and there were no devices that would help save him. So the parents, after the grief, decided that they need to come up with a plan to prevent these accidents happening in the future. So we decided that we will work with state, county. County of San Mateo has been really helpful. We just got our emotions together and we wanted to prevent anyone else feeling this pain. So that's how last year, 2021, Arunay Foundation was formed to help educate, bring more awareness of the beach safeties, and equip the right way so when someone is a victim of a sneaker wave, they will be saved by our devices that we have installed. They're called rings.
Wonderful. And I just want to say one thing here. My really heart goes out because I know it's a tragedy which happened, and some of us actually also remember when this happened a year ago, less than a year ago, and we remember that there was so much of news everywhere about the far part of it. Also, the realization that time was, oh my God, what about the safety part? Because California has a huge coastline, right, Tarun? I think around 800 miles of coastline approximately. It's beautiful coastline, yes, but how much of that actually is something which we can go and enjoy?
So I have a question, Tarunji. Please, this is a very layman, somebody would think, ki it's nature, beach mein jaake khelte hain, right? So we feel these are things that may happen. Could it have been prevented? How could it have been prevented? Talk to us a little bit about that. And, how is Arunay Foundation doing work in that area?
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest realization we had after the event, that it was totally preventable. What we lacked was awareness. Before this happened, we didn't know about rip currents, we didn't know about sneaker waves and how frequently sneaker waves can hit the coast of California. And even since then, I've also learned that there's very few islands near the coast of California. If you go from here all the way to Hawaii, literally, there's very few islands that will break the waves and prevent sneaker waves coming in. So California coastline is actually quite dangerous that way. These things do happen. They're predictable to some extent. but not entirely, I think, and the surf can be quite high. And these things have happened in the past in California coastline. So the biggest realization we had was, why didn't we know about this? So there's clearly lack of awareness, and since then we found many people who respond the same way, that we just didn't know these things happen. Right. So that sort of became our mission and our vision, that we want to prevent such things from happening, and the most important way to prevent such things from happening is to create awareness.
So are there, the question, Tarun, for you is, it is a public safety issue, correct? So is there any place, or has the system, or the counties who are responsive of those things, are there areas which they define as safe, not safe? Is that also an issue where we don't know if what is safe or not safe? Can you talk a little about that? And is there something which Arunay Foundation is doing to bridge that gap, which is in terms of definition of areas which are safe and not safe?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how to answer that question, but there are clearly beach signs that are put on beaches by the county and the state, which do give some warning information. But I think a lot of people go to the beach with the mindset of playing on the beach, not about worrying about these things. So it's easy to miss those signs. And California coastline does not have the basic equipment that can save prevent such tragedies, right? There's very few lifeguards on California beaches. There are some beaches which I think but most don't. There's hardly any life rings installed on those beaches, because when something like this happens, the beach goers are the first ones to respond well before any emergency services show up. So not having any sort of flotation devices itself is an issue. So that's the second part of our mission, that we want to equip beaches with such flotation devices to prevent such things from happening.
So, go on, you had a question.
So, well, we know what the problem is. So, what is the solution that Arunay Foundation is presenting? Could you talk a little bit about the work that I know your organization is still in its infancy. It's just a little over a year. And first of all, kudos to you. Our heart goes out to you and your family. But at the same time, thank you for, turning this story of loss into one of empowering other families with information so that nobody experiences what you guys experienced. So talk to us a little bit about, if you could please tell us, what is the solution that you're proposing or you're working on? How are you going about achieving this?
So since last November, we were able to install 3 rinks. They are 3 along Half Moon Bay, and we worked very hard in getting the permits, getting permission from the state, because each beach has a different requirement for installing them. And so we wanted to make sure that these were installed as quickly as possible. Last week, since we spoke, we got 2 more installed, so we have a total of 5 rinks installed. Our goal for our organization is to continue installing these. These come with permits. They come with a pretty hefty cost, but it's uncomparable to the loss. So we want to continue growing the organization so we can install these rings along the approximately 800 miles. So we've been working a lot with San Mateo County. And Tarun, can you explain? He will explain.
So the process of getting permits is quite tricky because of the jurisdictional restrictions. Each beach is owned by either state or county or city, so it varies a lot. There's also California Coastal Commission involved. So getting permits means getting permits from each or one of those, depending on where exactly is it. And it's a long process. It takes its time and it's expensive because someone who's aware of what permits we need to get gets involved, and it's expensive. So for the first rings that were installed near Half Moon Bay, actually San Mateo County covered the cost of permitting, which was great, and they've been very good partners. They also helped us install another ring on the bay side in Oyster Point Marina, which got installed just last week, literally. So they've been great partners. Jim Pruitt from San Mateo County has been very, very useful there.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So I can imagine it's going to be a humongous task which you have undertaken right now, and kudos for whatever you have done so far. And I've noticed one thing, Tarun and Anandita, talking to many of the nonprofits and many of the organizations doing this wonderful job in whatever they're doing. The basic three things is very important, right? Passion, resource, and know-how, right? And you guys have you're motivated with passion for sure. And what I'm trying to get at is, in terms of what you need from our listeners right now. Our listeners are listening to right now. It's a cause which is dear to everybody's heart, because everybody wants to make sure their loved ones are safe, and nobody wants to go through the situation what happened to you guys, unfortunately. But the point I'm going to get to is, what do you think our bandhus can help you with? Is it resources? Is it know-how? What are some of the challenges you have faced, and what do you want to tell our
bandhus help you out?
Yes, how can they help you out? Can you share some information on that?
First, we would love our community to come together for a walkathon. And it's a big deal because we're trying to promote as much beach awareness as we can. A lot of times we go to the beaches, we're just there to have fun. We always have our back. So we want to educate our community, and we're trying to have them come together for this walkathon. So we will have family members and educators who've been with us from day one, and we want them to educate and be aware. And secondly, our goal is to have, if there's anyone who wants to volunteer, who works in high tech, Google, other companies, to come through, and we would love to have ideas where when we're driving to the beach, I would love to have an alert for that day. Hey, high tide waves, sneaker waves alert. Most of the time, a lot of us have our phones. We always pass by those signs at the beach, but we want to make sure that we can work with someone. We want volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers to help us grow, because we wouldn't be where we are today in terms of our volunteers.
Right, absolutely. And Abanujan, you're listening to our Seva segment with Arunay Foundation. This is a local 501c3 nonprofit organization that has been founded by the parents of Arunay, who was lost at sea about in January of 2021. Many of you might have seen this floating around on Facebook, where there were search parties being organized, there were helicopters being arranged, there were so many folks who were showing support for this for retrieving and rescuing this young boy, and it was a devastating story. I mean, even for people who were not personally affected by it, it was, it kind of was gut-wrenching and heart-wrenching. But to make sure that this doesn't happen to other families, and to make sure that, I mean, we're all immigrants here, hame kya malum? I mean, even in India, we're very, we know in Mahabalipuram and all these places, terrible accidents and tragedies happen. But we are not so aware. We come here, we think, oh, wow, so beautiful, pristine beaches, we want to go. And the sad part was this young boy was not even in the water when this sneaker wave came up, and he was washed out to sea. So we are today in conversation with with the founders of Arunay Foundation, Tarun and Anandita, who are talking about how their organization is working to improve safety. There is an event that's happening this weekend. It is on October 2nd. It's a walkathon that's happening at the Quarry Lakes Park. If you want to register for this, please go to arunayfoundation.org, arunayfoundation.org, and it's at 9 a.m. in the morning. It is something that, like Anandita said, it's something that it doesn't have to be just money. You can, your knowledge, your time is also valuable. So
Yeah,
if you could,
your basic awareness also could help. So
Yes.
that's exactly what we're requesting you to do. If you can make it to the Sunday event, go there, meet Arunita, meet Anandita, meet Tarun, meet other volunteers there. We have spoken to some of the volunteers on the phone, and they are quite informed about it, and also learn about it and spread the word. And here's one more thing I want to say. Many of our youth also listen to our shows,
Yeah.
and I want to give a thing there, because we are big on promoting social entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And this is something where, we are the tech industry, we're in the tech world here, and if you have the know-how, if you have the time, and you have the bandwidth to actually volunteer, build these things. I think there are systems out there, like how Tarun talked about last time. He talked about there are Google, where actually weather things are there, but nothing's connecting the dots.
right.
Right? Could actually probably benefit. And if you want to learn more about how we can go do it, there's a problem right here. Work on it and fix it. I would encourage youth to actually take up projects like this,
Yeah.
which can make an impact on people, right?
That's right, absolutely. Before you go, I wanted to ask Tarunji, I know we spoke about this the last time we were recording. You talked about the three-pronged approach. If you could share that with our bandhus really quickly, and then, so people have an idea as to where there is a need and how they can support you.
Yeah, so our three-pronged approach is educate, equip, and inform. And I think we talked about them. Educate, we want to give all the information to everyone that we can so that they're aware. Equip is about equipping the beaches with life rings. And inform is about making sure that, like Anandita talked, when you're on the way to the beach,
Correct.
can we do something to, in the moment, inform people of high tides or surfs or things like that?
Right.
So I think the biggest thing that people can do is to be more aware. Right? I think that's the most basic thing. We just don't want to hear any news like this. So our success would be to not have any other news like this come out of California.
Right. Absolutely.
And yeah, we'll keep working through it. People can obviously help by supporting the cause, by donating. They can help by giving in their ideas. What else can we do? They can help by contributing from the point of view of different tech companies. Can we do something in Google Maps? Can we do something in weather? Can we do something in Apple Maps? Things of that nature to create these real-time alerts.
We can definitely use the community support.
Yeah.
The more people come with ideas, the better I think we'll be out there too in successing that these accidents don't happen.
Very true. And of course, this situation is not only for our community of South Asians.
Yes,
it's actually
it's for
abroad.
anybody, right?
And I would encourage your friends and family to also come and talk about it, get them aware about it. If you want more information, the ticker right there below this particular screen, you can see the website of this particular wonderful organization called Arunay Foundation. Go check out what they do. And if you can, definitely make sure you're here on Sunday, October 2nd.
That's right. It's Gandhi Jayanti. Banujan said this before. Gandhiji said, be the change you want to see in the world. So this is definitely a change that needs to happen, where we need to be more aware and more, safe. He walked for freedom. On Sunday, Arunay Foundation is asking you to come and walk for the safety of our children and safety of everybody who is, out there to enjoy nature. In all its beauty, but we also need to know that nature also comes with its own, with its own challenges, and we need to be safe. Better to be safe than sorry. So please come out and support the cause on October 2nd. ArunayFoundation.org is the website, ARUNAY Foundation.org. You could get more information there, and you can also come to the walk. Anandita ji and also Tarun ji and other volunteers of the foundation will be there, where you could also exchange ideas and thoughts. and I guess there's going to be one more person who's definitely going to be there, and his 2 canines are also going to be there on Sunday. So that's Aral Dubala. So thank you, Tarunji and Anandita ji. I know it's not easy to talk about loss, and it's not easy to talk about something as devastating as what you have experienced, but please accept our heartfelt gratitude for whatever you're doing to make sure that no other family experiences that. So thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. And इसी के साथ हम बोलेंगे Bindujan that if you have not made plans for the weekend, we've made it for you. So
Yeah.
it's a date. Saturday को आपको Dingchak Dandiya में आना है at Pragnya Dingchak Dandiya 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. फिर जाके यहाँ पे खाना वाना हो जाएगा, जाके सो जाओ and get up and get to the Arunay Foundation's walk at Quarry Lakes Park on Sunday morning.
And if you happen to meet me there, we can go for brunch afterwards. Yay! Just throwing it out there, okay? All right, but thank you so much, Tarun. Thank you, Anandita.
So much.
Thank
Thank you so much.